Patreon, what is going on? Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for your incredible support last week out at the Scouting Combine in Indianapolis. As promised, we're going to give you an unfiltered recap of what went down during our week in Indy. And to do that, to basically help me remember what occurred and share some funny stories, is the great Will Parkinson, who was our first guest to kick off Combine Week last week. Well, Will, can you believe that it was already a week that we were in Indy? I mean, one
I
week
know.
from
It's
today,
crazy.
you were sitting at my table getting the week underway, and now here we are recapping what was a really fun week.
I know we were getting our first in-person pod going. It was awesome. No, it's a fun week. It's obviously tiring and your social battery when you get home is shot, but it's my favorite week of the year in terms of the NFL, obviously outside of actual games, and it was nice. It was a great time. Obviously, we got to spend a ton of time together, so obviously enjoyed the week quite a bit. A lot of fun times.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you kicked us off. Were excellent first interview, and from like a Jet standpoint, obviously, we could tell some behind the scenes stuff about Douglas and how he was 24 minutes late and all that. But there was like enough things happening with the Jets that was worthy of discussing. Besides just the repeat storylines of tackle at 10, which one, or what are they going to spend money on in free agency? You had the Lake and Tomlinson news, which happened right when you and I first got to Indy. And then you had the Mecole Hardman stuff. So there was draft storylines, free agent storylines that we already had, and then you kind of tackle some new storylines as well to address. It created a lot of different angles to cover from a content standpoint, which was fun.
Yeah, it's just funny. It's the Jets never a dull moment. Obviously, it's always a lot of drama and everything like that. The best one of the funnier moments of the week, Joe Douglas being about 30 minutes late to the presser, and everyone kind of just standing there and seeing some of the Packers guys, want to come over and ask about Aaron Rodgers, and you have the national people, obviously the people that cover the Jets. It was a funny presser. He was the only one speaking at that time slot. So yeah, there. Listen, it's Indy's a funny place. You bump shoulders, whatever the term is with kind of anybody in the NFL. We obviously had a lot of that at prime at nighttime and high velocity, and some of these fun places. So it's just one of those weeks where there's real news, there's kind of drama news, and then there's just fun stories. Catching up with people, old friends and media, players, coaches, and new friends, obviously as well.
Couple takeaways I had when I saw you night one at High Velocity, which is the bar at the JW Marriott where a lot of the NFL personnel are standing. You were talking to Brad Spielberger at PFF. Man, is that guy tall. Brad was like the tallest guy at the bar. I would have no idea that like the PFF capologist guy is like the tallest guy. I mean, Brad, you would think Brad would be like this short little like nerdy Poindexter type, and he's a big dude, man. Super nice
Yeah,
guy as
yeah,
well. Cool to meet Brad.
yeah. No, it's funny. Me and him joke all the time. We are menaces at press conferences because a lot of the media is Brad's about 6'5", 6'6", and but and he's not a bulky 6'6", like he's pretty slender. So it's quite funny. He towers over everybody, and he's standing next to good friend of mine, Dave Safaro, who's one of the really great people at PFF that does a lot of great stuff for them. Dave's probably 5'6", 5'7" at most. So Brad and him standing next to each other constantly is always one of my favorite moments of the combine, honestly.
Yeah, it certainly was funny. And night one, like you kind of get immersed right away that it's such an NFL like convention of just everyone being in one spot. Ron Rivera tables over from Dan Quinn, old coach of the Commanders, new coach of the Commanders, same bar slash restaurant, having a meal, tables next to one another, which is just so funny if you think about it. And you just kind of have like just a who's who there, man. And there's so many people that are there media wise, but there's also people who don't have NFL jobs that are there to try and meet with teams to get NFL jobs. So there's obviously like the main event of like the prospects performing and the medicals and the interviews and all that. But it's also like just a football convention for people trying to break into the actual industry of football.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's one of those things where, um, yeah, obviously the main show of the week is the podiums, the players running, testing, etc., which is a great part of it as well. But there's also the aspect of coaches and GMs talking. There's the aspect of it, meeting up with agents, seeing people, that you only see a couple times a year, in person. Obviously, at this point, maybe the Senior Bowl, maybe the owners' meetings, maybe the Super Bowl. But this is a true NFL event. This is a football event. The Super Bowl, as we talked about a lot, is more of it's a fun event. Don't get me wrong. And it's great, and a lot of people are there, but it's a very big time corporate sponsorships. It's very corporate. It's very much like whose products is you are promoting, who's whatever. This is more like talk mock drafts, talk crazy stories. Like it's not. It's definitely a little bit of a different experience than even Mobile, which is more actual football. But Mobile, Alabama, and Indy are obviously very different places as well.
Yep. I don't know if Mobile, Alabama has the amount of Lime scooters that Indy had. I mean, those things are
Me
fun,
and
man.
Jake are zooming around in those things.
Oh, dude, I refused to walk after I rode my first Lime scooter because where my Airbnb was, we were within a 3-minute scooter ride of the convention center, Lucas Oil Stadium, which is connected to the convention center, and Prime, where I basically spent the last 3 nights just posting up because you'd run into everyone by just being there.
Yeah, the scooters are a fun time. Me and my brother last year we're running. Actually, the first year me and DJ BNMA, friend of the pod, obviously, we're running around on him. And then with my brother last year, we'd stayed further away from the convention center than I stayed this year and the first year, and kind of need him. That 20-minute walk is no joke, especially you don't want to start sweating and whatever. But yeah, Prime's high velocity Prime, Kilroy's, and St. Elmo's it's definitely it's a revolving who's who in there. And me and Jake, Jake a little more famous than me, but it was a fun time, right? It's you're seeing people, you're seeing former Jets people. You got to have some fun moments with Brian Schottenheimer and Mark Brunell and things of that nature. Nick Sirianni was in there with Big Dom, and got to say what up to Mike McDaniel and Antonio Pierce, and the list goes on and on. Bobby Slowick, Nick Sirianni, Nick Casario, and the list goes on and on. So Prime's a wild place tonight. Granted, not all the media and everyone else that's in there.
Yeah, I'll give you credit for the Nick Casario interaction at Prime. He was just standing there by himself, and you pointed
Ooh,
out, you're like, "That's
breaking
Casario."
news: Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs both cut as we
Jamal
record.
Adams. Ah, a box safety who can't cover.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and Quandre Diggs, interestingly enough.
I would take Diggs from a Jet perspective.
Me too, but I would not. Wow, interesting. Okay, sorry. Continue. Just wanted to.
But no, we're reacting, baby. There you go, Patreon. You guys are getting our instant reaction to the Jamal Adams news. But anyway, I give you credit because Dick Casario is just wandering by himself at Prime. He was just standing there, and then you pointed him out. I'm like, oh, let me go up to him. Like he would remember me from Houston, so I had like a 5-minute chat with him, which was cool. But my favorite like just interaction. I wish you were there for this when I had our waitress, and we had the same waitress each of the last 2 nights I ate dinner at Prime. Her name was Taylor. Super cool, very attractive, by the way. Super cool, down to earth girl. I had her go up to Mike McDaniel, who was having dinner with Bobby Slowick, and say Jets, 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 Jets to him. And McDaniels took it well. He's like looking around, like, where'd that come from? And I like waved to him, and he gave me like a nod. So that was pretty cool. And I gave Taylor, a $20 tip for
Yeah,
doing that.
of course, it's worth the story. Absolutely,
Yep.
Daniels is a good. He's a fun time. He's at least always willing to. I feel like have a laugh and things of that nature.
Yeah, the 98.7 morning show, Rick and Dave, they opened the 6 a.m. hour the next morning telling that story of, oh, look what the ass man did. So I'm like, there you go, guys, giving you content. But it was a lot of fun, man. Obviously, Prime was really cool, and I think we discovered the cheat code for next year. Will, the
Yeah,
key is to make a late reservation at Prime. 8:30, 9 o'clock. They're available late because all like the Prime dinner spots are taken to get probably reserved weeks in advance by NFL folks. You want to reserve a late dinner reservation on the high tops that are located in like the bar area because they don't move those tables. So you just post up. Meanwhile, Prime ends up becoming a sea of like just people. Yeah, everyone's packed in there like a sardine. Not us. We're chilling. We had our own table. And the last 2 nights I was there, I booked a late reservation, had dinner, and just posted up. And people were coming over to me because they're looking at me like this guy's got table space. So people would approach me and I'd get the network and talk with folks and book future guests on the YouTube show and the radio show. So I think we accidentally kind of discovered the cheat code. Late reservation at Prime. They don't take away those high tops, and then boom, we're set for the rest of the night.
yeah, that was great. We had a really nice dinner. Dan who does Buck the Trend and does all the graphic stuff for Badlands. Has designed our free agency board, draft board, all that different stuff. Was his first night out, so he got to experience that, and Yeah, it's great. Then we were at a high top, people just coming over left and right, saying what's up, and either of us knew, and got to have some chats with them, and it was really good. It was no, it was an awesome. It's an awesome experience. I think it's something that it's kind of football nirvana a little bit. You see just such different people. I ran into Ike Taylor randomly on the last night, walking on the street by himself. I saw Antonio Cromartie on a scooter, trying to figure out how to get a scooter to work. That was one of the funnier moments of the trip.
I saw Steve Smith as well.
Yeah, there's just so many random people there that you wouldn't even think of, and as we mentioned, Mark Brunell is kind of he's a coach in the NFL now, but hanging out and got to catch up with a bunch of people around the league that working with teams and stuff like that for info. But you also get to catch up with people and maybe in media you've had on shows or on different podcasts and stuff like that you never actually met in person, and then you get to get a beer with them and chop it up, and is this person actually cool? Are they a loser? What's the deal here? And that part's obviously one of the cooler moments, I think, I'm sure if you feel the same way of just, a lot of people you've talked to over the years over, text, DMs, whatever it is. And then you get to actually meet them in person, have a beer.
Yep, Antoine Staley, guy that I've known through Twitter and having on the show, but got to hang out with him multiple days. He got dinner. Me, him. We had a nice dinner with Cole Thompson and Aaron Wilson at Harry and Izzy's, which is the steakhouse next to St. Elmo, but it's owned by the same people, so it's the same food, same menu. And you tried the famous shrimp cocktail, man, and
Oh man, that
you still
thing
coughing
beat
from that thing?
my ass. It made me feel better that Laura Ruffledge posted a video of Mina Kimes doing the same thing. I take for people who wouldn't see, it's a little glass bowl of or silver bowl, whatever it was, a 4 shrimp cocktail doused in cocktail sauce. I've had shrimp cocktail all the time. I've had shrimp cocktail down the south. It's not anything crazy. Kyle Duggar transition tag, interesting there. And take out, grab it, take one bite. Try to just take it wasn't a big piece of shrimp, so just ate the whole piece of shrimp. I get a rush of just smoke blowing right up my nose, mouth, right through my eyeballs, and I was like, "Holy fuck!" And I'm just coughing, trying to make sure nobody else at the table, the great Aaron Wilson, wouldn't make fun of me. I'm sitting there, I'm like dying, and I was like, "Oh man, okay, maybe no one saw that." Moments later, the great Cole Thompson, to my left, does the same thing, but everybody's watching, and Cole's dying over there, and I was like, "Okay, it wasn't me, thank God." Great shrimp cocktail, great sauce, but oh boy, that was didn't need a second piece.
Now, did you like my bit that I played that everywhere we went for dinner, it was either one night it was your anniversary, but your wife wasn't there, but then my friend Mia showed up who covers the Jaguars, and I'm like, "Well, Mia's now your wife, let's make believe." And then the next night it was your birthday. So you had or actually I think I got do I have the nights reversed? I think the first night it
Yeah,
was your
first night was my
birthday.
birthday. Second night, you told the waitress it was my anniversary. She's like, and then you were like, your wife is no longer with us. And then there was a whole bit, and Jake tried to get us some money off our bill, which was much appreciated.
Yep. Well, I was like, she's like, well, where's his wife? And I go, well, she's no longer with us. And she's like, she's dead. I go, no, she was here, but she left. She'll be back. And I just kept playing into that bit with her. But you got a free dessert out of it, Will, and because
Free
it was your
shots.
birthday the night before, you got a free tequila shot. So I took good care of you, my man.
Yeah, you took good care of me. We took good care of the table. Hey, listen, someone's gonna take one for the team and play up whatever it is, and was happy to do so for some free stuff. Never gonna turn down free alcohol.
All right, a little trivia for you before we wrap up this exclusive tell-all on our week in Indy at the Combine. Who was the drunkest person that we saw out and about? There's one answer here. I want to see
It's
if you're
John
thinking of it.
Fox. It has to be
Yes.
John Fox. Legend. Now
Oh
Lion. I
my
think he works for the
God.
Lions now. He had a few. He had more than a few cocktails. I would say on I think Thursday night or Wednesday night.
Bro, he was stumbling everywhere, coming in and out of the restaurant the whole time. John Fox. No one did more at Prime in the couple nights you and I were there than the former two-time NFL head coach.
Yeah, it was quite funny. I thoroughly enjoyed watching. That was
Or maybe
enjoyable.
three-time NFL Panthers, Broncos, Bears. Three-time NFL
Yeah,
head coach,
three
John
time.
Fox.
Yeah, and I think still hanging around with the Lions. Um, he's a hoot. That was interesting. Guy had a good time.
Yep, no doubt about it. Anything else stand out to you? Any stories that you have from the week that you want to share with the Patreon audience?
Nothing too much else. I will say the last night was with the great Connor Rogers at dinner, and Marvin Harrison Jr. were eating behind us, and then he did not attend his. He was not drinking, but he did not attend his press conference the next day. And the guy that was sitting at the table in front of us was absolutely plastered. Just would not leave them alone. Marvin, you got to come to the
Uh,
Colts, Marvin. And it was just like, I was like, dude, give it a freaking rest, buddy. Enough. Like, geez, Louise wouldn't stop. Marvin, you're a legend. So, and then I was wearing a Yankees sweatshirt of sorts, and it's our year. It's the Yankees year. I was like, dude, you got to go home, man. It's over for you. It's everyone's at a 2, and you're at about a 9.5.
too many drinks. Yep, Indy will do that to you, man. Those late nights of whiskey, steaks, out late. I mean, it's a
It's a
fun
long
time,
thing.
man. It really is. Well, I appreciate you doing this. You obviously showed me the ropes in Indy at my first ever NFL Combine, and assuming my work situation allows it a year from now, I want to make this an annual trip because I think from a just pure content perspective for what I try to do on the YouTube channel, getting in the same room as all the beat guys and NFL insiders and draft people, that's better content than some of the cool Super Bowl interviews that won't get nearly as many views as the opportunity to talk with you or Connor Rogers. To put it in perspective, the two most viewed interviews I have done on the channel at Super Bowl Radio Row and now Combine have been Rich Eisen and Connor Rogers, which just tells you as cool as it is to have
The
Carrot
great
Top
Rich Eisen.
and Emmett Smith and all these guys. At the end of the day, my audience wants one thing and one thing only: Jet content,
Jet
and
content,
it's
baby.
great. So
We live for Jets content. That's what we do
nothing
here,
like
you
it.
know?
Ah, nothing like it, baby. We love the Jets content. Can't get enough of it. All right, I want to thank everyone who watched. Once again, thanks to Will for hopping on. Patreon exclusive podcast. Let me know what you guys want this offseason. Once things kind of get settled up a little bit in regards to free agency and the draft, we're going to do some, Jet origin stories, bringing back season 2 of that. So we'll interview fans on Patreon about how they got their start as Jet fans, favorite memories. And also, in the coming days, I'm going to be sharing the link to our March Madness Bracket Challenge, exclusive for Patreon and channel members to join. We'll have some cool prizes for that, like what we did for Super Bowl Squares. So be on the lookout for that. And I just want to say thanks again to everyone on Patreon who signs up. If you're paying $5 a month right now, perhaps just sign up for the year and you'll save 15% when you do that. So thanks again, everyone, for their support. Thanks again to Will for coming on. And I'll talk to you guys on the normal YouTube channel, JETS Jets.